All righty, we're back. We're ready to go once again. We got our top 100 board games of all time. This is number 40 to 31, and we're very excited to bring it to you today. And of course, we got our good friends to help us out, Higher Ground Gaming and Phoenixknight. How are you guys doing today?
Doing awesome.
A little tired, but such as to be expected.
I know, right? We were just talking offline. You had a lot going on today, and you're still here, ready to go and talk board gaming. So we do appreciate it. Thanks so much.
For those of you
I'm really
wondering,
excited. I'm sorry.
I haven't joined a gang. I got the Mr. Brody pug hat. That's why I get the.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, good old Mr. Brody.
That's it. He helped me with the list. So.
What a great guy, man! I tell you. Oh, the good old days watching him, right?
Yeah,
how long has he been gone for now?
What's that?
How long has he been gone for now?
It'll be 2 years in
Wow, has it been 2 years already? Wow,
yeah,
that's crazy.
I know, it seems like it was yesterday.
Did you yesterday?
No, it seems like it.
Oh, it seems like yesterday. Okay, yeah. Wow, I can't even believe it's been that long. Yep. Yeah, well, I'm sorry about that. I mean, I know you were very close, and he was a good friend of the channel, and well, at least you had those. Yeah, exactly. And you had these moments with him.
Yep. You would appreciate this.
Well, let's see. What am I going to do here? I guess we should load up a screen this time and kind of present some cool things here with a window. Bingo, bango, zango. All right. Let me bring up my Excel sheet here. Oh, let me close out of my Vassal. I was doing some testing in Vassal because I'm going to be running a game in Vassal this coming week, and I want to get things ready for that every Wednesday. I'm going to call it Wednesday Night Fights or something like that.
Every time you say that, I think of Tom Vassal from the Dice Tower.
Right.
If you're running Tom Vassal.
All right, number 40. Who wants to go? Who's going to volunteer today? Anybody?
I will volunteer.
You're going to volunteer. There's a guy. Yep. There we go. All right, number 40.
I think this is going to be. I know it's the biggest on my list as far as table space and just epicness of it. And this is a brand new game to my list. And that is a game that is a dungeon crawler, which I've been starting to get into more. And I did this on Kickstarter. And this is a game called Dungeon Crusade.
Dungeon Crusade.
Yep.
There. All right. Genesis of Evil?
Yes, I know.
All right. Wow, that is a big one. Woo.
And that's only one of the dungeons. That's just one. But that's probably not even showing the whole table. But this is one guy that did this whole thing. Roger Deering, or whatever his name is.
Deering, I think.
Deering. And this guy, I mean, he's personally messaged me a number of times, giving me some advice on, like, if I want to start filming stuff, and just, like, he's been really appreciative every time I comment. He, like, gives, like, a whole page of, feedback and everything.
Nice. I love it when designers do that.
Oh, yeah, this guy's great, though. He gives shout-outs all the time. He does tons of videos on his channel about it. And this game doesn't have the most complex mechanics. It has pretty simple mechanics in the game. But it's definitely, I mean, when you say labor of love, this is definitely a labor of love. He spent, like, I think half his life, like, designing this game. And this is the second edition of it. I think it's called Slayer of the Realm Edition, which it just recently got a couple months ago on Kickstarter. It's a beast. I can't even fit it on the table I'm currently on right now. But it's just your basic dungeon crawler. It's got some pretty interesting mechanics, like the monsters that spawn. Basically, a hero's going to a dungeon, and then they, complete some quests, and they go back to town, and then they have a celebration day if you're successful. And the monsters follow, like, these. They have dice you roll when you do the monsters, and they follow, like, certain monster trails or whatever it is, depending upon what color die you roll. It's he's got it all mapped out to what the monsters follow different trails and everything, and you fight different levels and get all kinds of loot. You know, your typical dungeon crawler, but he simplified the mechanics down where it's not like a bear to learn the system. There's a lot going on in it, but it's very very learnable and very approachable. You can play as one hero, or you can play as 6 heroes. And he does have a predecessor to this called the Avalon Adventure board game, which he recommends that you kind of do to get some starting gear and get yourself ready for the dungeon party ready. So it's a pre-game to the game kind of thing. But excellent production value, just really huge box. I don't have it with me right now, but yeah, an epic dungeon crawler, and it's brand new to my list since I just got it a couple months ago.
That is awesome. I'm gonna have to look that one. Another one I'm gonna have to look up.
Yeah. If you look at like I don't know if you've heard of Dungeon Universalis. That's probably another one kind of in the same realm of it. That one's much more complex in a different way. They're all very different games, but each one of them has their own charm. This has definitely got the old school charm to it, and just pretty much you just roll a couple of die, look on a chart, look on the monster chart, and just determine whether or not you've inflicted a wound, kind of thing. And it's just really cool battle system. You usually fight in 3 different realms of like strength or ranged or or arcane or whatever it is. You're usually proficient in like a few different things, and the different monsters that you fight are proficient in different things too. So it's just a real simple combat, but really I find it satisfying. But a great game, great designer, and I expect it maybe even go up a little bit more. It is a bear to get to the table. I will give it that, but I think once you get it set up, though, it's just a marvel to look at. And I think it comes with at least 2, if not 3 different dungeons with it.
I think Phoenixknight's already writing this game down. He's already looking at it like
sounds like he knows a little bit.
It's like something that I might like to play, wasn't it?
Well, I'm looking at it at the very least. I'm not sure I'm going to pick it up, but the reason I recognize it is because one of the admins in one of the other Facebook groups I post in a lot constantly gushes about this game, so I kind of knew the name a little bit.
Well, that's cool. When you have some people gushing about a game, it usually means it's a pretty good one.
Yeah,
I'm definitely going to have to look at this one. And this is new to you, so it wasn't on your list last year, right?
No, in fact, I just got it like I think in January. So
nice.
Yep, just started delivering a Kickstarter. And he's
All right,
already working on something
I'll go next. Phoenix, you can go last today, or do you want to go next? It doesn't matter to me.
No, go ahead.
We'll go around in a circle this way. My number 14 is a war game, and I bet you we're going to see this one again in somebody else's list. This is a very story-driven narrative game where we know somebody that likes those kind of games, don't we, Phoenix? And this is where you're taking around a submarine in World War II. And why can't I? Oh, it's down here. There we go. Boom. This is a game called The Hunters. German U-boats of war, 1939 to 1943. It's also, I'm using this as a spot for the Hunters system. So it encompasses the Hunters, the Hunted, and Silent Victory. Thank you. So all 3 of them are very similar. You're basically in charge of a single sub, and you're rolling on charts, and you're determining what kind of missions you're going to go on and what your loadout is, and you can earn awards, and you can keep track of tonnage and how many ships you sunk, and it's just kind of a theater of the mind and kind of an adventure chart driven game, and one of those games where the story is made up by the dice you're rolling, and so it's just one of those war themed games that's very solo friendly. We had a great time playing this. We played it a little competition, the war room. All 3 of us did our own patrols until we got killed, and just to see who got the most ships. And believe it or not, Rough Swordsman was the best submarine captain. I can't believe it either. My number 40 is The Hunter's System by GMT Games.
Yes,
And we're going to see this again sometime.
Yes, you will. There's also Beneath the Med that's also part of this series. That one is where you're an Italian sub beneath the Mediterranean Sea.
True that.
All right. So my number 40, let me scroll back down to it. I actually have a fairly interesting history with my number 40 game. I actually had owned most of it, if not all of it, at one time a few years ago. Then I sold it off, and I finally decided after watching Jester play it again, I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna pick this one up again. It's a comic book boss battler, essentially. And yes, it is Sentinels of the Multiverse from Greater Than Games. So as I said, it's a somewhat simplistic comic book battler where you're taking on a boss, essentially. You get a pre-assembled deck of cards, it's unlike Marvel Champions, where Marvel Champions, you build your own deck. And the one thing I guess I will say about this game is there's a heavy amount of bookkeeping in it, and I'm pretty sure we're going to see this one again on somebody else's list. But my number 40...
You will, for sure. One of the best games in existence.
And before I forget, it actually is up 4 spots from last year.
Oh, good you mentioned that. Thank you.
I almost forgot about that as you were starting to...
You played this quite a few times this year. So it's been on your channel quite a few times, and I enjoy watching it. So it's always good to see it.
It's actually only been on the channel twice. I put it on the channel back in 2021, back in the very early days of the channel. Then I sold it off. Then I finally started buying back into it, and I put it back on the channel earlier this year. I want to say in... Let me look. I'm keeping my game notes.
You just repurchased it not too long ago. So
yeah, I just repurchased it not too long ago, and I actually put it on the channel earlier this month. So you'll be hearing about it again in a video coming up, not just in the top 100, but you'll be hearing about it again on my channel.
Great game. Number 39, Higher Ground Gaming.
2021, just when Phoenixknight was a young chickadee in his mother's nest.
Yes, 2021, yes.
No, I had already been on my own by then.
There's a bird reference. Anyway, my number 39 is probably one of the toughest games in existence to win. In fact, I think I've only maybe won the first scenario once, maybe twice, possibly. And I think ID might have this. It's a survival game. And it's Robinson Crusoe.
I already started typing it. Yeah, I already started typing it.
Yes. But this game, they just came out with a deluxeified edition there with all kinds of bells and whistles. And I don't feel the need to get that. I just don't see. I think it's got enough of it in this copy of it. It would be nice to get all the little expansions and everything. I've got a few of them, but to get all of them in one box. I've got the older edition, which is the one with all the figures on the cover, a big long box one, the rectangular box, and I might want to upgrade that one. So if I can get a good price on the deluxeified version, I'll do it. But I do at least want to, get all the deluxeified components and stuff like the bananas and all the little tokens and everything. That I would probably do. But yeah, it's a game with a bunch of scenarios in it. Very hard to win. You can play you can play it solo. It's cooperative. You can play with a dog or Friday or just by yourself, but I don't recommend by myself. Very tough game, but punishing game. But when you do win, it is very satisfying. And
yes, it is.
Robinson Crusoe: Adventures on the Cursed Island, up 9 from number 48 last year.
It is a great game. Unfortunately, I did not play it last year, so it fell out of my list. It's now 112, so it just fell out of my list. Mm-hmm. So unfortunately, we won't see it again from me. But it's a great game, and this is one of those ones that, I mean, how many times are we going to say this? I need to play this game because it's such a good game. Why don't I play it? Mm-hmm. My number 39 is brand spanking new. to my channel. It is so cool. I bought the game and played it on my channel, and I then went, as soon as I ended the game, I went to the publisher's website and ordered the 3 or 4 expansions for this game, because it's like you're never going to find a game about this. It is about making a film. It's called Roll Camera. It's a game about it's a worker placement game, Highergroundgaming.
I'm writing it down.
And you're simply trying to make a film, and you're trying to make the bestest film you can. There's like a track that you need to go up to the top, or you need to make a movie that's so bad it's great. It's a classic. And so there's like a balancing scale, and if you go really, really high or way down the low, and it's just a worker placement. There's different characters to play. It plays great solo because it's basically one player takes a turn, rolls the dice, does its thing, blah blah blah, and then the next player uses their dice. And so you play solo with 3 or 4 or 5, 6 characters, whatever you want to play. Great. It's awesome. It's got some really good expansions that really kind of flesh it out, but even the base game is so cool. And the best thing is, and I didn't get it, but if you had the Kickstarter edition, the box has the lid is like the little thing they have in the movies that snaps shut.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
you
it's
see
like
on the
that.
cover there, on the page.
So my number, what is this? 39. Roll Camera, the filmmaking board game. I just find it very interesting because it's a cute game that doesn't take itself too serious, and it's like a one guy that did this, and he did the artwork himself and everything. So
I see a theme here. We get a theme in this. A few games are going to be like that, I think. I've got at least one more like that in this list.
Oh, cool.
Yep, one more one-man show.
All right, so it must be the one-man show segment of our board games. Phoenix, 39, please.
Well, for you guys. Before I talk about my number 39, I should probably mention a couple things. One, my top 40 is all the same games, just maybe moved around a little bit. And you also have to remember with my list, this wasn't a churn year for me, so you're not going to see a lot of turnaround on my games. Just wanted to remind everybody who's watching later of that fact. So my number 39, on that note, is also up 4 spots from last year. I've always been a little bit shy around engine builders, but the theme really helped this one here. So looks like you're trying to guess the game, so I'll just save you the trouble. My number 39 game is Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition from Stronghold Games. Now, I've talked before about my feelings on the Terraforming Mars world, where I liked the dice game because it was an approachable series. I think base Terraforming Mars is too much. So for me, I think Ares Expedition is really that sweet spot where it gives you enough of the card building engine to get the Terraforming Mars flavor out of it. But in the same token, it's not so overwhelming that you're like, oh my God, this is way too much for me. So just looking at my notes here, like I said, the theme does wonders as an engine builder. I've been shy about those. So your goal, just like it sounds, is to terraform Mars by getting your ocean tiles down, raising the temperature, and raising the oxygen to sustainable levels for Earth. There are several expansions that look very good with this game. I personally haven't had a chance to get any of them out yet. So my number 39, Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition.
Excellent game. It is really kind of refined the Terraforming Mars, and I would suggest you try a couple of those expansions. One of the expansions, I forget which one it was named, actually takes it Terraforming Mars, where you've terraformed Mars, and now what you're trying to do is keep the levels at the maximum, as opposed to trying to raise them all up. You're trying to keep them there, and the game is working against you and trying to put them down. So it changes. It makes the game interesting because now all of a sudden you're like doing the opposite of what you were doing before, which is kind of cool. So try that expansion. I think it'll be interesting and put a new spin on things. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Trying to remember which one of the expansions did that, but I can look at the expansions. I'll see by the box. I think it was Was it Foundations?
For some reason, I think it was Crisis, but I wouldn't swear to that.
That could be. That makes
Thematically,
more
sounds
sense. But
Yeah, thematically it sounds like that.
Yeah. That's the one. Because it will lower one, and your job is to keep Mars habitable. Yeah, I think that was the one. They're all interesting. They all add a lot of cool things, and you already saw how I felt about this game. It was great. All right, where are we at? Number
38.
38. Yeah,
38
go ahead.
special. All right, 38 special, I believe.
38 special, right?
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, we're old.
That's right.
You get that reference, you're older.
That's right.
And it's not the gun either.
Nope, it's the band.
It's a game that I've been caught up in you. Hit by 38 special. And that game this is the first game which you'll see 1, 2, 3 of them in this 10 list, and then one more later. And that is a game from a company out in, I believe, Washington, and a game that does big, expansive games, very thematic. And this game is the zombie version, Last Night on Earth.
Oh, nice.
10th anniversary edition. Or just the whole system. We'll go with the whole system. This game I think I owned just about everything for. Yet I've only still played with the base game. There's so much just in the base game that I haven't even dipped into those yet. Game you can do missions, scenarios, very simple mechanics, and airs a little bit on the silly side, I guess you could say. But game that's very thematic, just very fun. Just you're trying to survive the night for the most part. The 10th edition has some cool. I think it's got minis in the other one too, but it's got some cool gas tokens and fire tokens, and just basically kind of buffed up. But game you can play is, like I said, solo. I think it's cooperative for the most part. You can play competitive when one or two people play the zombies, and then the other person plays the heroes, kind of thing. Or you can divide the heroes up, but usually play with 4 heroes and at least one zombie player, kind of thing, which is a common theme in Flying Frog production games. In most of them, except for Shadows of Brimstone, but yeah, just definitely a very pleasurable. My favorite zombie game. It just good mechanics. Doesn't take itself too seriously, which I think really draws me to it. But yeah, it's Last Night on Earth.
Nice.
By Flying Frog Productions.
I was gonna reach up and get my 10th edition, but it's still wrapped in the plastic. I think this week. I promise you, this week I'm gonna play it. I've been meaning wanting to get it out of the shrink wrap and get it out and play it. Well, so you really inspired me. I need to do it. It's a great game. I played this game many times at the game club, but it's been probably 10 years since I played it. It's a great game. It's fun. It's like you said. My number 38. This is the first of 2 T games coming to your
T games.
Yeah. This is obviously Takinu. Actually, well, it's Takinu, not this is the expansion, but I hate how let's get this on. There we go. So this is all about worker placement, management. You're moving guys around the board, trying to do different locations, build certain temples for the gods, try to earn the resources so you can do other things. And it plays great solo. I think David Turksey did the solo mode on it, which means it's awesome. It's it's a teen game, but it's one of the best of the teen games. It's not my number one, but it's my number two. And these two are very close, obviously. Tekenu was my number 42 last year. And you're gone, and now you're back. There you go. So it's actually up 4 spaces from last year because I played it I think two times, I think, the last year, which is pretty good for this game, getting it out and playing it twice, I thought. So, yeah, I really like this one. I always debate about what's my favorite teen game. It's probably whatever the last one I played is because I love all of them. My number 38, Tekenu, Obelisk of the Sun. I will mention there are 2 or 3 expansions, which really kind of add some cool elements to the game. If you can get them, get them. If you can't, that's fine. The game plays great without it, but I do enjoy the expansions. So with that said, you do you. 38 for you, Phoenix.
My number 38 is also up 4 spots from last year. It's a handcrafter from Stonemaier Games, and as always, they have excellent solo modes. This one is Red Rising. So as I mentioned, you're crafting a hand of cards in the Red Rising universe. Admittedly, I've never read any of the books, so I don't know how much I would miss from the theme. But you're crafting a hand while also trying to gather helium, advance on the Institute tracks, and advance with the fleet as well. So your goal is to have a hand of characters based on bonuses on them at the end of the game, and the highest number of points wins. The solo mode, as usual from Stonemaier Games, is very good. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I've got for my number 38 game. I do find the mechanics to be very interesting in this one as well. Like I said, of course, it's a variable power game as well, where you play one of the various houses in that world with various special abilities. So my number 38, Red Rising.
Yeah, this is another good one. And I had I have no inkling of what this series is about. Never read any of the books or anything, so I don't know these characters from person. If you know these characters, man, I can imagine trying to work out and figure out how to get all these different combos. It's all about the combo-licious things. Like this character gives you a +1 if you have explorers, and this explorer gives you a +1 for every red card you have, and so you're trying to work out all these combos and everything while also working on a couple tracks that you need to go up. So it's not just all card play, it's also trying to manage your fleet and your the helium or whatever it is.
Helium,
Yeah. So I think it's pretty neat. It is a pretty cool game. And like I said, I don't know anything about the universe, but it was still pretty cool. Obviously, it's some weird thing, but it's pretty cool. 37.
All right. Well, this game is another video game IP, and this is the second game that's done by a solo designer. In fact, he did the whole. I know he did the whole video game by himself. This one, he may have had a publishing company help him with it, but it looks like it might have been still just him. But it's a cooperative game about farming and friendship. But it's got exploration in it. It holds true to the video game, I think, and I got it right here. I did an unboxing recently, and I just did the sorting and all that stuff of it, and that is Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I kept steering away from it for a while just because I did play the video game, and I was like, this might be a little bit of a hard game to replicate, doing that, but it wasn't. But it was very pricey on eBay, and I think it was upwards of $100, and I wasn't going to pay that for the game. I ended up getting it for around like 30, 35, I think it was, maybe 40 at the most. But it's a game basically where you're just exploring in a town. Your grandfather left you a farm. You're growing crops. You're making friends. You're going into the mine and mining some ore, and you're completing basically just tasks for your grandpa and for the different townspeople, things like that. I think I looked at I saw a couple playthroughs of it, and the playthroughs of it were kind of, I don't know, I felt a little bit, they were going to be restrictive just because of the nature of the way the board game is set up. And that kind of turned me off a little bit, but then I saw that there was a solo mode where you can actually play, I think up to like 7 years of it. You can just play year after year after year. So you can kind of make it like the video game, because the video game is meant for exploration and building up your character, going to mines, and just playing it over multiple sessions. So I did see somebody. I would never play the 7 hours in a row, but he basically played it for 7 hours, and he went through 7 years, and he basically just did everything in all the tasks, everything in the whole thing, and set it up. And I think it's on BGG has a solo mode that's on there, but it made it to feel like you're just exploring, because I think the regular game itself, while satisfying to some degree, is a little bit restrictive, and because this game is meant to be pastoral, meant to just explore, kind of like Mythwind a little bit, like. But this game, I think you have to complete like 10 tasks or something like that, and that in and of itself, with just a couple characters, can, I don't know, kind of adds a pressure to it, but it's a good pressure. So it just makes it not the game that I thought it was, but still, I think it's got high potential in that whole exploration campaign mode, and the artwork is spot on. The characters are spot on for the game. So if you know the video game, you'll and I think that's basically who this is made for, is for people who love the video game. But I think I think even if you don't play the video game, you'll pick it up if you're into, if you know board game mechanics, you'll pick it up. So definitely heavier than I thought it was going to be. But that's my number 37. That's Stardew Valley by Concerned Ape is the company.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right. My number 37. My number 37 was my number 2 game played last year. I played it 18 different times. It's a sports game, and it is from 1951. It is APBA, or APBA Baseball. It's a card and dice system where each player is carded with numbers on it. You're going to be rolling the dice, looking at those numbers, looking at a chart to see what happens with that player, and you're basically playing a baseball game while you're doing this. Obviously, the good players will have better results on their cards than bad players. Better pitchers will have better results than the bad pitchers, and you're just playing through and playing different games and trying it out. It's the card quality is awesome. It's been around for many, 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 many years. It is super expensive nowadays for some reason.
The card version,
yeah. There is a online version that you can subscribe to or purchase, but there is a huge book that has results charts in it, and it's just a fun, interesting game once you know the numbers. A 31 is a fly ball to center field. A 13 is a strikeout. A 14 is a walk. So the game goes very quick when you play and you know the numbers. And it's just one of those quick games you can put on the table and you can get it done. This game was number 35 last year. It's down 2 spots, down to 37. It's just on its way out. APA. Pro Baseball.
Did you mention Strat Baseball yet in your list? I know you mentioned.
Yes, I did.
You did. Oh, wow. So this is higher than Strat Baseball for you.
Yeah.
Must be the company thing.
Stratomatic was actually last, though. That was number 59.
Oh. Okay. Yep. My big thing on the APA system is the stolen bases and defense. I just don't like the way they do it for some reason. I think it's defense, you kind of add up stuff, right? Like you add up
all the ratings and you get like a total result. Yeah,
I don't like that. That's one thing that I don't like, and I don't know. But again, I think I mentioned it before, and to me, it's a numbers thing. Not to downplay one of your top games, but it's just I like to see stuff, and I know once you play it for a while, you get to know what different results are and things like that, which is cool. which is ironic because I like MP3, National Pastime.
Yeah, which is very
which is kind
similar.
of based a little bit on this system. But I don't know. Some reason I like that one better. I don't know why. But anyway, each his own.
All right, Phoenix.
My number 37 game. I really don't know what to make of this one because I was getting ready to come on here, and we were talking about this before we went live. I was getting ready to talk about how I see a lot of potential in this game. Then I put it on the channel today, and my initial thought coming out of it was this game is getting ready for a big fall in 2025. And yes, I am talking about Fleet Commander Nimitz from DVG. But then after talking it over a little bit before we went live, I'm probably going to come back to this one in December when I've got a lot more time. But there's one problem that I do kind of see, beside it being a big beast to get out. I think we talked last year about the replayability of this game, and the vibe I'm kind of getting out of this is it almost feels like Rommel for me, kind of scaled up a bit in the replayability, where it seems like you get most of the replay out of this in the supposedly random order that the units are supposed to come out in. And I really don't think that's going to be enough replayability option for me. So I'm going to come back to this in December, but I have a feeling this game could be in for a big fall in 2025. But my number 37, Fleet Commander Nimitz.
Which was out of the water.
Which was up one spot from last year. Sorry, what higher ground?
It'd be blown out of the water.
Very well could be.
It's this is why we play the games, to find out whether we like them or not. I played lots of games in 2023 that didn't make my list this year just because I didn't like them, or I didn't like the mechanics, or they were too long or too big or too this or too that or too simple or whatever. So you just got to find the sweet spot. There's millions and millions of games. Every year they keep releasing them. It's not like 2024 they're going to stop releasing games.
Yeah.
And you just have to find the ones that fit into what you like to do. And, again, I don't think there's a problem with this game. I think you have to have the right mindset, which we talked about, and you have to have the dedication and time to invest in this one. This is one of these ones. I think it's going to be great once you get over the learning curve and the hurdle, and you know what you're doing and you know what to expect. But to get to there, is it worth the investment of your time? Life is too short to be playing something you don't like. So just keep that in mind. But anyways, I think it's, everyone, that's why we play the games, to find out what we like. If you don't like it, pack it up, sell it, and buy something you do like.
Yeah.
But it might be worth another shot, as we talked about. It's up to you. 36. We're almost halfway done after this. Boy, we're cruising through this one.
Yeah, we are, definitely. All right. This game, it wouldn't be my list if there wasn't at least one Stefan Feld in every 10.
We would think there's something wrong with you.
There you go, huh?
Well, maybe we still do, but.
Of course. All righty. Hey, by the way, do you have any more coconut pie left there, Phoenix?
Actually, I do, but it probably wouldn't survive the trip.
Did you put it in the fridge and get it thicker? Did you get my comment?
Yeah, I did see that. I was planning on putting it in the fridge before you put that comment out. It does seem like it's thickening a lot more. It's still not where I'm going to be comfortable bringing it into work, because I don't really want facilities yelling at me for that. But it does seem like it's thickening up a bit more sitting in the fridge.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, my number 36 is, of course, Stefan Feld game, and it's down 10 from last year. And this is another exploration game with a unique way of picking your actions, which will actually show up in a much higher game that's new to my list this year. But this game is Amerigo. And it's a game where you're basically exploring different islands. It's got a different map every game. It's got the gimmick in this game, if you can find it, is a cube tower. See if you can find the cube tower there.
All right there.
There it is. That's the famous cube tower. which was implemented in another game, which will be on my list. But that game basically randomizes your actions. Sometimes cubes get stuck in there.
So it's like a Shogun tower.
Yeah, just like that. But this game definitely, and it's a Queen Games game, so which I think Shogun is too. But yeah, it's a game where you're exploring, you're building trading posts, you're collecting goods, you're trying to conquer different islands. That right there is the rondo with all the different. Each color in that wheel there represents a different kind of actions, anywhere from blue is shipping to building to getting tiles to getting goods, that kind of a thing. And just to briefly describe the action selection mechanism, is you're going to be seeding the tower first with basically, I think you're going to be taking all of the cubes and dropping each pile through, and whatever doesn't get stuck in there basically is stuck. And I think you get 7 cubes from each color. But anyway, then you're going to start and go clockwise and grab the blue token, which is the shipping token, and you throw the cubes through, and whatever comes out, you're going to be able to take not just the shipping action, but whatever colored cube comes out. And the strength will be the cube that came out the most. Like say if there's 4 red, that will be the strength of the action, and then you can take a blue or red or whatever other colors came out. So not restricted necessarily to that main action that you threw the die in for. I mean, most likely that's going to be determine the strength of your action, but you can take just about any action, and that's what I really like about it. It's just you're like, oh man, I only got like 2 action points this turn, or this time I get 6 action points, so I can do a whole bunch of stuff.
Right.
The question is that cube going to come out that you need to do? I really need to build on this island. Is that going to come out this island? But it's just good. And the size of the map depends upon the player count. It's randomized, and it's kind of fun just building your islands. And if the island is bigger, yep.
Is that island, is it area control, or what is that?
Yes, it's area control. And whoever gets the most control of that island, well, you get points for completing. Like everybody, you're gonna have tiles you're gonna put on the island, and whoever has the most, island space is going to score X amount of points, and then second player X amount. But whoever gets, if it's a bigger island, then there's going to be a treasure chest, which is worth a certain amount of gold you're going to get. And whoever has, the biggest part of that island, controls that island, is going to get the treasure on that island. You're going to be collecting goods on the island, and then it's a multiplier like coffee or whatever, wheat or whatever it is. And it's a multiplier by, you're going to have to go to the market and get, those respective tiles too, to serve as a multiplier for those goods and everything. But very competitive, just a lot of interaction. Yeah, that's the top of the tower. It shows some stuck in there.
So you can see how they just stick right in there. Yeah,
it works remarkably well. You would think like, I don't know, does it work well mechanically? And it really does. It really does. I mean, occasionally you'll get like nothing will come out. I mean, that very rarely happens, but occasionally everything will get stuck in there. In that case, you don't get any actions that turn.
Right.
But
and then you're screwed.
Very rarely, something will usually come out. But yeah, just a really cool mechanism, which again is going to be implemented in a game much higher in my list. But just a little force that in there.
Awesome. Yep. I think we'll definitely be looking for that.
And this has got a good fun per minute. You can probably play the game once you learn how to play, depending upon the player count, usually in about an hour and a half or 2 hours.
Ooh, that's cool.
So it's not too bad.
All right, my number 36 is down 5 spots. It was number 31 last year, down 5 spots. I actually played this a couple times. This is, again, a series spot. There's 2 games in this series. As I've mentioned several times throughout this show, as we've been doing this, I love my train games. I love to build the tracks. I love to deliver the cubes, try to figure out the best areas and stuff. Well, I mean, it doesn't get much better than this. This is, of course, the number 1 board game of all time. And that is Brass Birmingham. And Rough Swordsman loves it the way I say it. Birmingham. And also Brass Lancashire. If you enjoy train games, it doesn't get much better than this, boys and girls. There's so many cool things. There is solo modes for all these games. You have to manage the resources. You have to manage where you're going. And the reason I think this game is like the pinnacle of board game design is because halfway through the game, the board wipes clean and you start again. And it's like, even if you're doing badly, you have basically a reset and everyone starts again.
Yeah.
It's a great production, great quality with the reprinted edition. This game, Brass, has been around for many, many years, but there is a difference between Brass Birmingham and Brass Lancashire. I won't get into the details here, but they do play differently. I prefer the traditional regular Brass Lancashire, but people out there love the Brass Birmingham, which adds a little bit more complexity to the game, and it's the number one board game of all time, according to Board Game Geek, anyways.
But not according to ID Gesture.
Not according to me. It's the 36th best game of all time.
So we'll see another one, I perceive.
I think we will.
Going by your English.
All right. My number 36 game is also up 4 spots from last year. So this one's rather unique. It's got a very unique mechanic in terms of reading the runes, where you're trying to build your character backstory. This one is Call to Adventure from Brotherwise Games, where you have a group of adventures that's out. Also, there's some traits in there as well that you can potentially acquire. But just like it says, you start off with an origin and a motivate. You start off with an origin, a motivation, and a destiny. So you've got your start of your character, how they're doing it, and then what their end goal is. So just like I said, you're trying to build up your character backstory. You can actually combine this with another game that we're going to see later on in the list to build out an entire character for, say, a Dungeons and Dragons game campaign. And then the fun part of it is at the end of the game, where after you've got all your story prompts, essentially, you've got all your cards, then telling the story for your hero. So my number 36, Call to Adventure.
Very cool. And it's got a very unique system for determining success, which I'm surprised you didn't mention.
That was the reading of the runes.
Oh, the reading of the runes, right. Okay. So it is very interesting. You're reading the runes, you're not rolling dice. So you have a 50-50 chance of getting one side or the other, and based upon your level in each of your different categories, you might be rolling one of those or two of those or three of those and trying to get a certain number of successes,
or potentially none if you don't have any in your story,
or none. Yep. It's definitely an interesting game with an interesting system. I loved this game until the last time I played it. And the last time I played it, I don't know what happened, Phoenix. I just was not excited about this game at all. I was very disappointed with it. I don't know if it was the runes or just I was in a bad mood. I don't know. But I love this game until I played the very last time. And I don't know. I might have to try it again. But man, I was not having a good time the last time I played it.
It was ruined for you.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I don't know what it was, but I'll have to go back and watch the video again to find out. But it was just not. It was some of the things that were happening that it just didn't sit right with me about. I don't remember, but anyways, still a great game. I need to try it again. All right, we're gonna take a 4-minute break.
4 minutes.
So because we're halfway through, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll take a 4-minute break. So come back in 4 minutes and 36 seconds.
All right.
No. I want. What are you talking about? What are you talking? You're having ice cream with you. You had look at all that ice cream you had. Winker.
Get my soda.
All righty. Little snack break here. Got my little donuts. Wish I had my coconut pie.
I know, huh?
Recipe is in this week's Mystical Munchies if you guys want to make it for yourselves.
Oh man.
That's not
Half
fun.
the fun is giving it to people that appreciate it.
It wouldn't survive the trip.
Depends how fast you drive it down here.
That's right.
I am not driving down to Florida just to give you coconut
I
pie.
think I'm a little bit closer. Not that much though, but
Probably not much. Not you're in what, Massachusetts?
yeah.
Yeah, not much closer.
Yeah. A little
Whose
bit,
fault
but not
is that?
much. All right, 30. What are we at? 35, right? Yeah,
35. All right. Well, this is just about as close to a war game as you're going to get from me without any chits.
Mm.
And this is another video game IP, hint, hint. And it's got war in the title. And that is This War of Mine.
Mm.
It was number 39 last year, number 35 this year, obviously, up 4. And it's a very thematic game. I still have not gotten any of the expansions for it. I'm itching to play on the harder side of the board. I just watched a playthrough. I think Solo Gamers Club did one on the harder side, and I want to try that one out. But this game is punishing just on the easy side on this. Just like
I was
the
going to
video
say, are
game.
you insane?
I know. It holds true to the video game IP. I just like the way it deals with exploration of the buildings and building up your your shelter though with cards and stuff like that, unlocking different recipes, collecting resources. I do love the resources in this. Just the gears and the wood, just very satisfying. You get a night raid every night, so you got to be careful. You might get shot by a sniper going out and getting stuff. Very dark theme. War is dark, can be dark. Does that very well. You play as, I think it's usually 3 characters. One kind of a little higher level character, and then 2 regular characters. Gives a little backstory. You're looking up things in a book as far as to what events happen, what results happen in certain times. Some combat in it, obviously. Wow, 3D version of that. That's cool.
Yeah, I was looking at 3D
But yeah,
version.
definitely not a game for the faint of heart. You definitely, you could die of misery. You could die of starvation, illness, whatever. You could just leave the group and never be seen again. So can be very depressing, but very satisfying as thematically. Though I think it holds true to the IP very well. I think I like to play this even more than I like to play the video game. I think it's better than the video game myself. The video game is very good. Um, Definitely want to get the expansions for this Tales of the Ruined City, and I think there's one other one. That's the main one I think I want to get. There's other themes that this explores, like with orphans and things like that, which I don't think I feel the need to play.
Hmm.
It's dark enough, so. But that is my number 35. This War of Mine, the board game.
Good choice. It's classic game. Classic. Um, I found it extremely punishing on easy
Yeah.
mode.
Yeah.
And I love the one thing I really, really appreciate in this game is it takes real, like, some of your characters can be addicted to cigarettes. So
Mhm.
every
Oh, yeah.
every turn you have to give them a cigarette, or they're not going to be happy, and their morale's going to go down, or
Mm-hmm.
they're on drugs, or it takes real world things, and it makes
Yeah.
these characters feel real.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, great choice. My number 35. I think Phoenix Knights already talked a little bit about this game, and with he playing it, this game is 2019. It's a game called Cartographers, where you're going to basically roll and write and explore different territories. You're going to flip up a card, and you're going to have a Tetris shape on it, and you're going to put that Tetris shape on your board, but sometimes you're going to have to choose whether it's water or farmland or whatever. And then each spring, summer, winter, and fall, you're going to score some special card. And so you're trying to work to get all those rewards as the game progresses. And yeah, it's just a fun, interesting game. I know we've had it on the channel quite a few times. Phoenix has had it on his channel a few times. And it's just an easy game to play. 30, 45-minute game. You can play it with one person, 2, 12, 100. You can play it with 76 people if you had 76 people. It's just a fun little interesting game. All you need is a pad of paper and a pencil, and you're ready to go. And obviously all the components that come in the box. My number 35, Cartographers.
Which was my
What was
number.
yours?
It was number 57 on my list.
57. I knew it wasn't too far along. Great game. I love it. I think it's great. It's brand new to my list. I don't know if I mentioned that, but brand new this year.
All right.
It was brand new to mine as well. Anyway, my number 35 is up 6 spots from last year. I've talked before about being able to overlook a theme if the mechanics are interesting enough in a game. This is another one where I was able to overlook the theme for interesting mechanics. This one is Marvel Champions from Fantasy Flight. So in this game, you take control of a hero or two, up to 1 to 4 heroes in the Marvel Comics universe, and you're building decks around those heroes. Now, unlike in Sentinels of the Multiverse, where in Sentinels you get the deck predefined for you, here you have the hero and you have to build a deck around them from a choice of among 4 different aspects, I believe. I believe it's aggression, justice, protection, and leadership. You have to build a deck around them and try to defeat villains in the Marvel Comics universe before they scheme out. And I really like that deck building aspect of it, where you can take a hero and go in all kinds of different directions with them, for the most part, I should say. I know there are some where you just have to build them in one specific way. I will say that I think this game works a lot better as a series of one-shots than as a campaign, because it's got it's what I like to call that treadmill campaign structure that I really can't stand, where you have to win a scenario before you move on to the next one. So you don't really feel the consequences of any decisions that you're making in the campaign for this one. My number 35, Marvel Champions.
Okay. Now you have to come to the answer. You have to answer the age-old question because this has been debated time and time again. Marvel Champions, Stencils in the Multiverse. You had them both on this list. Why is one higher than the other?
I think this one's higher on the list just because I like a lot more of the variability in this one, where you have more customization, where you can build, say, where I think for example, Storm, I believe her deck was, I want to say it wasn't the build I normally use with it for sure. It wasn't aggression. I think she came as leadership, I want to say. But I played with that pre-built deck and I was like, I wonder how Storm would work as an aggression build. So I built that and it actually worked pretty well. Now you can take, like I said, you can take any hero in any direction. So there's a lot more variability, I think, with this one than there is with Sentinels. And that's why I like this one a little bit better than Sentinels.
Good answer. Good answer.
All right.
34.
Okay, 34, moving right along here. All right, so this game, I believe, is up. I think it's 15. I think it was 49 last year, if I can read my writing. And this is a game kind of like for a system, but it is a game in and of its own, but with different reiterations. It can start off in the Old West. It moves to Japan. And I think the newest renditions are Vikings and Conquistadors. And that is the game I've definitely spent way too much money on. Way too much. I know. I remember seeing ID have this on his channel, and he painted the minis. Didn't work out, and I've never seen it again. And that is Shadows of Brimstone.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Shadows of Brimstone.
Yep. But I think this game has been probably rebirthed by. I watch a lot of playthroughs on Solo Gamers Club as well as a few others, and I don't know. I just kind of want to. It's been stirred up, and I think I like the new themes. I haven't got the new themes yet, but I like the new themes that are coming out for it, like the old Vikings and Conquistadors. Mixes it up a little bit. Again, just replayability. Just it's got pretty simple combat, a little bit repetitive combat, but it's just heavy theme, and you can just get whatever group of adventurers you want. You can have a gunslinger from the Old West as well as a Viking swordsman, or whatever. Conquistador. You can just team them all up and go on an adventure kind of thing. Very different, very thematic, different areas you can go into. You can go into the Fallen Wastes, or you can go into the mines, or you can go into another world kind of thing. So lots of exploration in it. Can be very punishing at times. You'll be floating along, and then all of a sudden you'll get hit by surprise attacks and things like that, which can send you running and fleeing. But I like the whole going back to the town and just buying more gear and finding loot. Just love the finding loot aspect of it. But yeah, great system. I gotta start opening up some of my expansions there for it.
Yeah,
again,
there's plenty of those.
Again, a table hog, which I've invested way too much money in not to play.
I know it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, another Flying Frog production game, which definitely the second. And you'll see some more, definitely. Shadows of Brimstone, my number 34.
Great pick. We had a follower, T-Arc, says, can't stay for long. Wish I could. Love the commentary. Keep it going. Well, thanks for your comment.
Thank
we
you.
do appreciate it. Yeah. Glad somebody out there is appreciative of us.
I know.
And all the hard work, because putting this together it's a lot of work. Just creating your list and managing it and playing lots of games. It's a lot of work.
Coconut pie would make this a lot easier.
I know, right? I tell you. Jeez. Yeah, this is one of these games that, between painting the miniatures and buying the expansions and painting the miniatures, and you could be like a full-time Shadows of Brimstone player. That's how big this game is. And it has got a lot of variability and, outer space, and
oh yeah.
You go through these portals and you're never sure where you're going to go. So it just depends on which expansions you have. You could be going to anywhere, which is interesting, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It always, it's like, where am I going to go? I don't know. Anyways, yeah, great game. I'm glad it's on your list. I need to get, I say this a lot, back and play this a game. My number 34 is down 16 spots. It was my number 18. My 18th best game last year. And it's not any worse a game. It's still a great game. I just didn't. I think I played it one time. Trying to remember if me and you played it online, Phoenix. Did we? I don't know. I don't think we did.
You have to show me what game it is.
It is from 2017, Spirit Island.
I don't think we've played this one online.
Okay. I couldn't remember if we did that or not. Yeah, it's fallen a little bit because I just haven't played it. In fact, there's a new expansion that came out for it. I don't remember what the name of it is. It came out in 2023. Added a bunch of new characters and stuff, and never even got it to the table. So shame on me. What can I say? Number 34, Spirit Island. Great game. You're fighting off invaders on your little island. And there's a lot of replayability, a lot of strategy. You can play great solo, or you can tag team up. Maybe we should try this sometime, Phoenix, and play it online.
We'll probably have to find a TTS module for this one.
There is a really good one. Yeah, we will definitely have to do that. Have you played this?
Yeah, I have played it. It's been a while, but I have.
All right. It's one of these ones that if it's one of these very complex strategies, and it's best if you got two people that know what they're doing, so you can throw ideas and say, oh, you know what? Maybe if you play this card, then I'll take care of this area, and you work this all out. It's kind of a little bit of downtime when you do that, but it's still a great game. It's still a great game.
It's only cooperative too, right?
Correct. Yes. The game works against you. Yes. But down 16 spots. So Spirit Island, and hopefully maybe it'll go back up the list if we can play it. We'll see.
We'll find out. All right. My number 34 is up 3 spots from last year. Let's see how much Chester pays attention to my content with a little hint about this game. Christmas in Arkham Prelude.
No idea.
This one is okay. So number 34 is Fate of the Elder Gods from Greater Than Games. This one is an interesting twist where instead of playing the investigators trying to banish the ancient ones, you play as the ancient ones trying to get your ancient ones summoned. It's a fairly simple game. You have an altar of different locations that you can move to in Arkham and the other worlds.
Right. I remember watching this. And I said, ooh, I'm going to go get this game and see if I can find it. And I looked on it. It was like $299. And I said, oh, well, maybe I'm not getting that game then.
There is no way this game was like $200.
Yes, it was like $299.
Where were you looking for it?
Well, right.
In the back streets in Florida.
I'm going to look it up on Noble Knight now. I'm there. I do not buy it.
I think it was like $299 or something. I was like, I am not spending $299 on this game, Phoenix. What are you doing to me? Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
Even the expansion is like $35. Let's see what it is on Geek Market, because there is, like I said, there is no way this game is going to cost you $200 to get. If I can ever spell here. There we go. Fate of the Elder Gods. Geek Market. Yeah, they've got copies on the Geek Market.
Stock. It's out of stock.
It's out of stock, but I'm looking at the Geek Market right now. There's a copy on here that just went up about a week ago for $35, which looks like it's got quite a bit in there.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, go ahead and talk about your game.
So like I said, you've got your various locations there where you travel, where you set your cultists up for various effects. Each ancient one has a dark gift that you can activate, and the curses are actually very interesting when you're playing multiplayer, where basically you do something against the curse, the player to your right holds the curse and can spring a trap on you. It's a little bit of take that I don't really like take that in games, but I guess I don't mind it here. But then I mostly play this game solo. So my number 34, Fate of the Elder Gods.
What's the object?
To get your ancient one summoned.
So you're playing
You're basically playing
You're playing the cultists.
You're playing the cultists devoted to an ancient one, trying to get them summoned.
Yeah.
And it's
interesting idea, at least.
I'll explain a little bit more about the hint that I gave you as far as Christmas and Arkham Prelude. So on my channel, you may recall, if you're subscribed to my channel, if you've been around my channel for a few years, then you know that I use Fate of the Elder Gods as essentially a planned tournament, because there are several ancient ones that cross all three of the other games in Christmas and Arkham. So I run a tournament over Thanksgiving weekend, basically to determine which ancient one I'm going to play for Christmas and Arkham that year.
Yes, you do.
So
and you do a great
battle
job.
royale.
You do a great job, by the way. I'm sorry I can't pay more closer attention. For shame on me. 33.
All right, number 33 is only a small bit of evil, and that is A Touch of Evil.
Oh, nice.
10-year anniversary edition, down 10 from number 23 last year. But no specific reason, just there are other games that just happen to get higher, new games in my rotation mostly. But this game is definitely one of the more thematic of all the Flying Frog games. All the games pretty much are, but this one is, I tend to gravitate to more. Just I like the different diversity of the enemies. You got a group of travelers in a small New England town called Shadowbrook. I believe it's Shadowbrook, New Hampshire. So it's in New England, got a New England setting to it, Revolutionary War time kind of. Just basically you're trying to fight evil, gathering investigation tokens and defeating the enemy, which will appear at certain spots throughout the game. It has different minions that circle the board. You can play with, I think, 2 different expansions, add 2 more boards to it, so you can play with 3 boards. And usually when I play with it, there's elders you can help you out and stuff. 3rd edition, the 10th anniversary came with a bunch of little plastic location spots on the original map. I wish they'd do that for the expansion boards. That would be cool. The game tends to center around the one board, the main board. And so in order to travel to the other boards, I make it mandatory that each character gets cards from at least one location from another board, just so they have to travel there before the end of the game, just to, encourage more exploration, and use some of the other boards. But definitely a great game, multiple themes, tons of different enemies you can fight against, quests and things like that, minion charts, uses similar Flying Frog mechanics, but definitely I think one of the most thematic Flying Frog games out there, and that is Touch of Evil, 10-year anniversary edition.
And I couldn't get the 10th anniversary edition, so I've been kind of piecemealing it together and buying my own expansions.
Yeah, something Wicked I think can get more expensive.
Yeah, it's been a chore, but I got a couple of the expansions in the core game.
Yep.
It's a great game, except for I will warn people. I played, and each of the characters changes the rules. Each of the villains changes the rules, and one of the characters I was playing, or the villain I was playing against, changed the rules and put these little pieces down. And I read it as if you enter that space, then you had to fight them or do something or take damage or whatever. But that's not. It was when you end your turn there, you did it. So basically, our area got smaller and smaller and smaller. We couldn't move anywhere. I was like, and then I realized I messed up, and I was like, no, I'm gonna have to start all over again. So I messed up the game when I played it. But it was. There's all these elders there's like 9 city elders, and some of them might be good, some of them might be bad, and you're trying to hunt down the enemy, and it's so much fun.
Yeah. I beg to think that nobody has ever played a perfect game of any of these Flying Frog games. There's just so many rules in them. But they're not usually overpowering but if you miss one or two, it's not necessarily a big deal. It's more for the experience of it and just
right.
Not the perfection of the game. Because you'll go nuts if you try to do it perfectly.
Exactly.
Yep.
All right. My number, what are we at? 33, right? My number 33 if I learned how to type, actually. And this is basically probably in reality, it's my favorite board game system in wargaming, and that is the Command and Colors system. It basically is a very easy to understand. You're taking a hex board and you're separating it into left, center, and right. You're drawing cards and you're playing a card, and it tells you activate 2 units on the left, activate 2 units on the right, activate 1 in each section, and then you basically activate those units. You move them around, you attack enemies. It's got your typical hex encounter scenarios. Try to, kill the enemy units and remove. Each enemy unit's got 2 or 3 or 4 blocks, and once you kill all the blocks of a unit, then that unit's gone. You get their little flag, and then first team that gets so many flags wins it. It's a very simple system. It's a great intro game for people to get into, to learn wargaming, understand the mechanics. You have to worry about morale. You have to worry about, cohesion with your other units. You learn that there are some units that are faster. There are some units that are tougher, but not as fast, and you learn the basics for getting into wargaming. There's ancients, there's Napoleon, there's World War II, there's World War One. Whatever era you're interested in, you can find a Command and Colors system. In fact, there's a space one called Red Alert, where you can actually play this with spaceship systems and using cruisers and destroyers in outer space. And it's kind of a harder game to play, or not to play, harder game to find because it's out of print most of the time. But Red Alert, if you're interested, is a great space version of this. But there's 20 different games in the system, and they're all great, but very understandable, very reasonable to understand. You can sit down and learn them in about 20 minutes. You could teach somebody in 10 minutes how to play. And you're just basically, okay, you got your hand of cards. What do you want to do? Oh, you want to play this card? Okay, boom. You play this card, and it tells you on the card what to do. And there's a few special cards, like one of them might say, like, activate all your blue troops, or all your ranged units attack twice, things like that. So you're never sure what your opponent's going to do. You might be getting swarmed on the left-hand flank, and you might be like, your guys might be almost decimated, but if he doesn't have any more cards to attack you, you don't have to worry because he can't attack you. So anyways, Commands and Colors, the Ancients, all-time classic game. It is the number 19 war game of all time. So yeah, not far off from where I'm at. I'm at number 33. Not bad. It's a good game. If you're trying to learn wargaming, try some Command and Colors system. All right, that is my number 33. Has this been on your list, Phoenix?
No, it hasn't been on my list. I actually don't have any Commands and Colors games.
Really?
Okay. It's just never been a system that really hit my radar ever.
Huh. Okay. I'm surprised. Just getting into wargame, I thought you would play the number 1 war game intro to wargaming system. I just thought you would. Okay.
Like I said, just never hit my radar.
Well, I guess not.
Anyway.
And they just reprinted Napoleon, so you should have jumped on the P500 for that.
Napoleon, though, has never really been an era that's kind of caught my eye for anything.
Well, they just reprinted the medieval one, too.
See previous comment. Medieval had never caught my eye either.
All right. I guess
Napoleon's a little short on desire.
I guess so. 33 Phoenix. What's your 33?
My number 33 is a city builder game that I usually don't really go for, but I think the minis really help this one out. If you're guessing Suburbia, you're wrong on this one.
I know.
Okay.
As soon as you said minis, I was like, no.
The one you want here is actually Foundations of Rome by Arcane Wonders, and this one's actually a fairly simple city builder where you go through it in 3 eras. So you're just like it sounds. You're trying to build Rome out. You buy plots of land essentially. You can get connected plots. You can put out your buildings for population, money, and eventually victory points with your civic buildings. One thing that I discovered though is it's actually not very solo friendly, and it seems to play better at higher player counts. I think I tried it once at like 2 players, and that absolutely sucked. Both of us hated it. The guy and I who played this game hated it at 2 players. So my number 33, Foundations of Rome. It's a simple city builder, but not very solo friendly.
Did you kickstart it?
No, I didn't kickstart it.
Yeah, because I know the Kickstarter version, they offered all kinds of upgrades, and I looked at it, but it got ridiculously expensive with all the different add-ons you can make. I don't know if they were Kickstarter exclusives or what, but
they probably were.
Looked
It
interesting.
looks like an expensive game with all those big miniatures. Good Lord.
No, I think they did I want to say they
$500? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. That's
exactly probably for everything in the
That's
Kickstarter.
probably the Kickstarter version of it.
Yeah,
that's why I stopped. That's why I didn't look at it anymore.
Jeffrey Edwards says, I'm with you, Phoenix, on the Ancient and Napoleon stuff. Don't listen to him, Phoenix. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Did they have a roll and write or something like that on that? Because I want to say they did, or something similar to it. Something to with the Roman theme there. All I remember is I pledged for it, never got it, contacted the Kickstarter guys. They kept telling me they were going to send me a copy, never did. Still haven't heard from them. A couple years down the line.
Well, nice.
But anyway, that's going to happen occasionally, Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right.
32. We're down to 32. 2 to go, baby.
Game.
2 to go.
My highest T game. And that is Teotihuacan. Is that how I pronounce it? Good. City of the Gods. Yes.
Teotihuacan?
Yes.
You call it Teotihuacan? Oh my God.
Yes. Christopher Walken. Definitely a game I own a copy of. I play mostly on, exclusively pretty much now on Board Game Arena. Usually got a couple games going at a time. Just like the way they use the dice for the workers and everything. You tick up after you've done do the action, and then they can ascend at the end of that. Lots of different tracks you can go up. Building the pyramids, pretty fun. Just the different areas to get the resources in. Just a lot going on in it, and I just like how you can mix it up, and has a good solo mode to it. Has that solo. I think ID just did a playthrough fairly recently, where you used the bot. I think whatever is the. I think it's another David Turtsy.
It is
solo.
Yeah.
Solo mode. Yeah. But it's got a good program for the you can use if you don't want to use the cards for the or the tiles or whatever for the solo mode. Not too hard to learn, but yeah, it's a fun game. It's fun building the pyramid and everything. It's fun just getting your workers. Do I get that 4th worker or not? You have to feed them. So uses cocoa as resources, or one of the resources. And I like how no one resource is necessarily more valuable than the other. It's just what do you need to build kind of thing, and what do you need to do in a certain area. Some areas need wood, some you need gold, some you need stone. So,
Yep.
But I just like how you can go and you can worship and but you lock your worker up, but you can perform. You can go up on tracks and get tiles and things like that by locking that worker up. And then do you spend an action unlocking all your workers, or do you spend that 3 cocoa or whatever it is to do it and still take your turn kind of thing. So cocoa can be very tight at times. You pick starting tiles, kind of similar to Zolkin. You get a couple starting tiles, which I like. Drafting those tiles can be fun. So, yep, that's my number 1 T game. Second T game on the list, and that's Christopher Walken.
Teotihuacan, really? Oh, that's interesting. That is so interesting because I am actually going to share my screen with you because it's very important that I share that my number 32 game is also Teotihuacan,
we did it.
City of Gods. We've matched. We did it.
Yes.
Yes, we did. I
Wow.
cannot believe it. That's why I didn't say anything when you were talking because I was like, wow, I gotta get my screen so I can show everyone that yes, we have matched. That's amazing.
Yes.
Of all the games, the thousands and thousands and thousands of games,
Yep.
that we would have the same number as well. That's like very rare. That's
It's
cool.
happened twice.
It is. It's a great game. I love this game. Oops. Well, damn. Sorry. I meant to do this. Let's go back to sharing window now. There we go. Let's just share the window. All right. There we go. Yeah, it's a great game. So simple too. You move your guy 1, 2, or 3 spaces. That's it. Move 1, 2, or 3 spaces, and then do whatever's on the space. You just activate it.
If you get more than one worker, you can get more powerful actions.
Right. Yeah. And depending on your dice ascend up, and they become more powerful until they become a 6, and then when they become a 6, they start over as a 1 on the board, and so you kind of lose how strong they were, but then you get another Temple of the Dead track that gives you some bonuses.
Yeah, 3 eras it takes place over, I believe.
3 eras. Yep. 3 eclipses, actually.
3 eclipses. Yep.
Great name, and I'm so happy that it's your number 1 T game. It's also my number 1 T game.
Wow.
So we'll have to play it sometime.
Yeah, we have. That's a must now. And
yeah,
Phoenix
absolutely.
And I have to play Space Base.
Yeah, that's right. Because you guys had this space, which was number like 50 something for you guys, wasn't
51,
it?
I think.
Yeah, 51.
The last one outside the 50s. Yeah, awesome. That is great. All right, so we're down to the Phoenix. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead, 32, buddy.
My number 32 game was a total theme purchase for me in the pandemic system. This is World of Warcraft: Wrath of the Lich King by Z-Man Games. So I'll give you a hand with this one. Yeah, probably just search Wrath of the Lich King. There we go. That's the one. So you take control of various heroes in the World of Warcraft universe, trying to stop the Lich King from overrunning Northrend. You have to solve 3 quests around Northrend in each of the colored zones. Then you eventually venture to Icecrown Citadel for the final showdown with the Lich King, where you have to advance through a much longer quest chain than you have with the other quests in Northrend. This one for me is mostly a trip down nostalgia, is mostly a trip down memory lane, because I played a lot of World of Warcraft: Wrath of the Lich King back in my younger days.
Tell me about it.
In fact, I would say it's probably one of my favorite expansions in the World of Warcraft universe. Just because I really like the story behind it, but I don't think there's as much replayability in this one. Because you just do the one quest, you do the 3 quests, then you go to ICC. And I don't really think the additional quests do enough for any kind of replayability in this game, but I do enjoy that it's very simple. It's a pandemic game, so you'll pick it up in nothing flat. You do your 4 actions, then you activate the enemies, then you draw cards to invade, and rinse and repeat until the game's over, until either the Lich King's overrun Northrend or you've defeated the Lich King. My number 32, World of Warcraft: Wrath of the Lich King.
Yeah, great. I've had this set up on my table to play twice and didn't pull the trigger. I kept putting it back in the box and just said no. I want to play this game, but I just can't find the desire. It just seems like it's too finicky.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't played it, so I don't know. But it just.
Do you ever play WoW?
I never played WoW. Never played WoW. I know I'm crazy. I was too busy doing other things, but I never played WoW.
I played way too much along, probably with Phoenix too.
See, since you guys have that connection, and I mean, they're talking about these people and characters. I mean, I only know them from the few things that the board games and whatever that they've come out with. That's
Mm-hmm.
how I know some of these characters. Or the Blizzard thing, the MOBA, the Blizzard MOBA.
Yeah.
So that's all I know about the World of Warcraft.
Phoenix, what's that? I forget. What's the main city in that where you can fly into?
Dalaran.
Dalaran. Oh my God. I spent way too much time in that city doing daily quests. Oh my God.
Yeah.
My God.
Maybe we should try a World of Warcraft night, and the three of us get on.
No, I don't want to get.
Lord.
I don't want to get that juice back going again.
You don't want to start that train again, huh?
No. I would eat, sleep, and drink Warcraft for a couple of years back in the late 2000s.
Yeah.
Enough said about that.
Phoenix, I think, spent his younger years there.
Yeah, I really did.
Yep.
I know a lot of people did. Yeah. All right, so we're down to 31. Last one for today, boys. Don't forget, 9 o'clock on Tuesday. We're going to be in the top 20s already. Holy crap. 30 to 21.
Mm-hmm.
No, wait. Is that right?
Yeah, 30 to 21.
30 to 21. Yeah, we're going to be in the 20s. Wait, is that right?
Yeah.
30 to 21?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
30 to 21.
Mm-hmm.
And then, 21 to 11. And then, right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. I was thinking, wait a minute, that's not right, but it is right. Yeah. Wow. We're going through this so fast. All right. One to go, baby. Let's do it.
All right. Well, it all comes down to two things for me, and that is work and prayer, and that is Ora et Labora.
Aura.
Aura.
A-U-R-A.
Yeah. Or you can put Ora and Labora. It'll probably come up with that. Ora, which is prayer, and Labora, which is labor, which is work. Work and prayer. Uwe Rosenberg game. Another.
You're gonna have to spell it. You're gonna have to spell it.
O-R-A. Should come up. Ora et Labora or Ora and Labora. Should be one of the top ones, I would think. Yeah. Ora. Yeah, it is. Yep, that's it.
All
Yep.
right.
This, if you like resource conversion in this one, if you like taking like goods and making better goods out of them, this is quintessential game of that, where you're building settlements and getting different settlements and then activating those settlements on your board in order to produce goods, in order to upgrade them to build more goods. Great solo mode in it, hard solo mode, which your goal is to get 500 points in it, but do resource conversion and all that stuff. So if you're into resource conversion in this one, and just the whole building of the settlements is cool. It's got a really good production wheel in this, where do I get like 3 bricks now, or do I wait and hope nobody takes it and it goes up to like 5 or 6, or if somebody takes that resource that I really need and it goes down to 1, kind of thing, did I wait too long on it? So there's a timing mechanism in it. When do you take the goods? When do you not take the goods? Against the solo mode is you try to get 500 points, which can be really difficult. But the whole building the settlements, you're building like an art colony, so you can only have certain other settlements next to it, but you score for those different settlements with the buildings that's orthogonally adjacent to it will score in the end. You have to build in the right land area. You have to buy extra land area. You have to buy extra water area. You can only build some buildings on the seaports, kind of thing. But you get a bishop, which is your main character, and you have 2 priors. And the bishop is like your main character. So if you build the building and you have your bishop available, you can immediately produce on it. Your 2 priors can go down your board, but not only can they do on your board, but you can also activate another player's board by paying them. I believe it's wine or something like that. You have a bottle of wine together, kind of thing, thematically, and he lets you produce on his land, kind of thing. You can play as either the French or the Irish, and basically it's the same game, but you get a few different buildings. Like the Irish, I think, normally do whiskey, and the French do wine, of course. But I wish it had a little bit more. They never came out with any expansions to it, but I mean, there's an expansion essentially included in the game with the Irish and the French you can play as, but definitely very satisfying resource conversion game where you're constantly building up your resources and converting resources, getting this to do that kind of thing. So if you like that mathiness kind of thing, it's like you don't have to know math, but it's just very satisfying, the whole resource upgrading game, which a buddy of mine just picked up for his collection. And he's probably already got 500, and he's an engineer, so he's already got close to 500. I got maybe 400 and something, but I never got the 500.
Really?
Yeah, lots of pieces in this, kind of like the Colonists. Lots of pieces in it.
Yeah.
A little bit of organization in it, but that wheel there is just is again another mechanism that's just the draw for me in the game. Is just that whole production wheel, and when do I grab it? Do I grab it now, or does the AI
wait until it grows to bigger things, right?
Yes, or if I waited too long, then it's no longer going to be there, and it goes down to one resource, and then I have to wait till it to build up again. So timing is crucial, and it rewards planning it. So if you like planning and that kind of stuff, it's a good game. It's Ora et Labora, or Work in Progress.
Awesome. My number 31, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I like some train games. I like building up the tracks. I like sending out the resources. I think I've talked about this a few times on the show. Well, this
you got a one-track mind.
Is all about the whole train system, and it's the most popular. It's sold over 12 million copies. It's, of course, the Ticket to Ride system. Is specifically, again, it's any of the Ticket to Rides. I've got Ticket to Ride Europe, Ticket to Ride Germany, Ticket to Ride. There's a million different versions of it with different maps. They all play basically about the same way. You're basically picking up cards that are colored, and you're trying to get those cards so that you can build the tracks and complete your routes, and your routes are worth points at the end of the game when you build your tracks on the map. And as you can see, there's just certain locations. Sometimes there's one spot between two cities. Sometimes there's two or three. Excuse me. Sometimes there's 4, 5, or 6 spots. So depending on, how many you're going to need, you might need to get 5 or 6 blue cards. So when those cards come out, do you spend the time just drawing cards, trying to store up, or do you find a different way? If no blue cards come out, you might be screwed. So there's a lot of strategy in this game, but it's very simple to play, very easy. I think the weight on this is like probably 1.83. It's not even a 2. It plays great. Doesn't play great solo, although I'll play it solo because I love the train games, and I just play 2 sides. If it had a solo mode, this wouldn't even be higher on my list. I love Ticket to Ride. I've played it several times on my channel, solo, 2-handed, and just do the best I can. And there's smaller maps that are just designed for 2 people. I played the last time when we played was San Francisco, and there's only 10 different locations on there. It was really good. And I can't believe how many people watched that. I thought nobody's going to come and watch this. There was 20 people watching. I'm like, this is a lot of people like Ticket to Ride, I guess. So 12 million copies. What can't go wrong there?
Yeah. What's the version that you build tunnels in, or is there a European version? I think
the European one. Yeah. You build the tunnels. Yeah.
I didn't realize that, and I'm sitting there playing it, and you have to have extra resources when you build in order to build a tunnel, I think, of that kind or whatever you're building. And I just had enough to build it, so I couldn't build a tunnel, so it didn't count as part of my route.
Right.
And I'm like, it wouldn't let me complete the route because I didn't have that extra piece of material. So I built it, but I just didn't have enough to build a tunnel, so I was basically screwed from trying to complete that mission.
Yeah. There's the Europe maps kind of add some different complexity to the game.
Yeah.
But I mean, all the expansions kind of do the same thing. Like the San Francisco one I was just talking about, they have cable cars, and they also have each of the different locations has a little token. And the object is to build the routes. And when you build a route between 2 locations, you can get one of the 2 tokens, and your
Mhm.
object is to get the most tokens. And at the end of the game, you're going to score. Like if you have 4 tokens, you're going to get like an extra 12 points. So you're trying to build the different things. It's just a cool way to add in some more complexity to the game without making it too difficult.
Right.
Number
you got a lot of
31.
room to go with the 1.83 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ticket to Ride. Great game, great system. Phoenix.
My number 31 in this group, my number 31 is the lone game to fall, but only 1 spot. It fell more because something else rose quite a few spots. But it's probably another one I see falling further and further as I don't play it that often. This one's Harry Potter Death Eaters Rising by USAopoly. There are several games with a similar mechanic where your goal is essentially to eventually summon and defeat Voldemort. You got the various locations there where the characters come out. And the order, to me, it seems like the order of the Death Eaters coming out is what influences your replayability on this one. This one doesn't really seem like it has very much replayability. I like the theme, and I did find the mechanics to be fairly interesting, where Voldemort will actually turn and corrupt whatever location he's on, along with attacking whatever characters are at that location. And the Death Eaters can potentially synergize and do other kinds of crazy things there. You take control of one of the loosely aligned good guy factions in the Harry Potter universe. You're in control of Dumbledore's army, the Order of the Phoenix, or Hogwarts, essentially. You're trying to recruit characters to save the Hogwarts universe from Voldemort. So my number 31, Harry Potter Death Eaters Rising.
Just where you got your name from. The Phoenix?
No, not really.
No, not really. Okay.
Is this your highest Harry Potter game?
I don't think so. I think there's one. Yeah, there's one coming up that's a little bit higher than that.
Yeah, I bet you it's the same one I got too. We might match, Phoenix. We could match.
We'll have crossover, but I don't know if we're going to match on the same number. We'll find out.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. It might be interesting. Might be interesting. Look at that. So we're done with our 30s. Yeah. Going the 20s next time. That's Tuesday at 9 o'clock. 30 down to 21. Let's see what we got here. 30 to 21. We have 3 sports games and 2 war games coming up. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can you believe it? Half of these are brand new to my list. Wow. Wow. Wow, I can't believe this. Woo!
I got a mix of stuff. I can't really say. Other than I think Herman might want to be watching the show. The next show.
Well, I'll call him and let him know. I will let him know that he should show up and watch his you might hear his name a couple times.
Yep. And there is a new work replacement game, which I just got, a pretty big one, but not to show you the theme I like, but it may be one of the best worker placement games I played as far as the way your workers develop. So that's all I'm going to say.
Wow.
Yep.
And I will say, I have the biggest riser coming up next week. It's up 51 spots. It was number 72 last year. It's now number 21 coming up Tuesday night. Up 51 spots. Are you kidding me? Wow. Phoenix, what about you, buddy?
I've got 1 war game, 1 sports game, and most of my 30 to 21 didn't really move all that much.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Just wait till 2025. You'll see a big changeover.
That's kind of what I've been saying all along. This year wasn't a churn year. Next year will be.
Yeah. You got a lot of new ones to add to the list, and you won't have that many to knock off. You're, just kind of diving in full steam now, and it's going to take you a couple years to get there. But yeah. Mm-hmm. And look at that. Wow. We're through another list. Great list. I really enjoy these games. And I just look at these games and I think, first of all, 2 T games, which are awesome. A couple
Mhm.
sports games. Command and Color Ancients, my favorite war game series, and then the Hunters. Like the Hunters is going to probably be in the top 20 for Phoenix, I bet.
Mhm.
So great games. There's so many great games, and I'm having a lot of fun looking at the ones that you guys mentioned because some of them I've never heard of, and I'm interested. I'm actually looking at this Death Eater Rising one. This is I love Harry Potter. I love the Harry Potter game system. I guess looks interesting. Is it falling down your list or going up your list?
Falling down my list.
Ah, okay. You can just send it to me then. That's fine.
That is definitely a theme you will never see on my channel.
Not a big Harry Potter, huh?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay. I mean, I could. I guess what I should say is I watch the movies, but I'm not like I don't have any posters. You know what I mean? I watch
You
the
didn't
movies,
stand in
so
line for each book that came out.
I don't have that. No,
No.
I'm sorry. But so this way when they like talk about Dumbledore, I know who the hell Dumbledore is. Unlike Red Rising, like when they
Yeah.
talk about somebody in Red Rising, like
Mhm.
I don't know who that is. It's so and so. Yeah, okay.
I do like Lord of the Rings. I'm more of a Lord of the Rings guy.
Oh, I love Lord of the Rings too.
Yeah.
Phoenix
Got
doesn't
it.
like that stuff. He likes space stuff.
I watched the Lord of the Rings movies. I never read the books though.
No, I never read the books either.
Who's
Maybe
got time
one.
to read? Read like books?
I
Well, to be fair, I do most of my reading anymore via audiobooks on Audible.
Mhm.
That's true. All right. So we got Tuesday nights. Probably looking forward to doing that. And yeah, I can't wait to look at some more games. Again, biggest riser in my whole system coming up. I actually have 2 games that rose a little bit.
Mhm.
So in that, I've had a couple fall. I have my number 8 from last year coming up, my number 12 from last year, and my number 20. So all 3 of those coming up in the next group. All right. Well, thank you all for coming by. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to check out Phoenixknight and Highergroundgaming. Make sure you subscribe to their channels. Let them know what a great job they're doing. If you hear all the games they're talking about and they recommend, if they're games you're interested in, please check out their channels, subscribe, and watch their videos because that's why we love to get feedback and love to get comments from you guys out there.
Mhm.
Anything coming up in the next before Tuesday, Phoenix or Higher Ground Gaming?
Not really. No.
Nothing before Tuesday.
Okay. All right. I didn't know if there's anything we needed to mention. All right. Well, then we'll see everybody on Tuesday night at 9 o'clock. Tuesday night at 9. And we'll see everyone then. That'll be number
30 to 21.
30 to 21. Thank you. All right. We'll see everybody then. Take care, guys.
See you guys.
Bye bye. Too many numbers.